All right. Good morning, everybody. Second over here, just all right, let's get into it. It's the 14th day of Tammuz. Let's continue. Let's continue in Parshas Balak, verse 13. Vayomer Elav Balak. Balak said to him, L'cha na iti el makom acher. Come with me to another place. Come with me to another place. Asher tir'enu misham. Efes katseu tira. V'chulu. V'chuloi. Loi sira. V'kovnoi li misham. From where this other place where you will see them, however, you will see only part of them, not all of them, you will curse them for me from there. V'kovnoi li. This is an imperative, curse them for me. Vayikachehu stay tzoifim el roish hapiska. He took him to the field of the lookouts to the top. Vayivan shiva mizbachos, and he built 7 mizbeachs. Vayal par va'ayal b'mizbeach, and he offered up a bull and a ram onto each of the altars. Sdei tzoifim. This was a high point where a lookout would stand to watch for any army that might be approaching the city. So that's where they went to see the people. Roish HaPisga, to the peak. Bilam was not as expert a diviner as Balak. Balak foresaw that some misfortune would befall Israel there. For there, Moshe would pass. He thought that the curse would take effect on them from there, and this is the misfortune that I foresee. But he didn't realize that misfortune was just Moshe's passing, not the destruction of the Jewish people. Vayemer el Balak, he said to Balak, remain here next to your offering, and I will be reluctantly communicated with here by Hashem. It keeps saying reluctantly because that was different. The way Hashem spoke was different than he did to Moshe Rabbeinu. Vayikar Hashem el Bilam. God spoke to Bilam. Vayasem davar befiv, and he put something into his mouth to say. Vayomer shuv el Balak v'choisetaver. He said, return to Balak and speak this. And he placed a message into his mouth. What was the nature of this placing, and what is lacking in the verse when it says, return to Balak and speak thus? That it needed to be preceded by this phrase of, and he placed it into his mouth. Like, what does that mean? It's only stated in order to tell us that when Bilam realized that he was not being given permission to curse, he said, why should I go back to Balak to disappoint him? But the Holy One, blessed be he, placed a bit of a hook in his mouth, like a person pricking an animal's mouth with a hook to direct it to the place he wishes, and said to him, against your will, you will go to Balak, and you will say the message that I'm giving you. Because Bilam, was basically done. What's the point of going if it's not going to be what Balak wanted to hear? Vayavai Elav, so he went to him. V'hine nitzav aloi losai, he was standing next to his offering. V'sorei moav itai, and all the Moabite dignitaries were with him. Vayemer loi Balak, and Balak said to him, Ma dibur Hashem, what did Hashem say? Let's look at the Rashi. And all the Moabites were with him. Whereas earlier it says v'chol sarei moav, and over here it's saying v'sarei moav itai. It's a little bit of a different wording. Now, when they saw that there was no hope for them from him, some of them went away, and only a portion of them remained. In previously it says v'chol sarei Moav, all Moabite dignitaries, and over here it says whichever dignitaries were with him. In other words, some of them had been lost. Some of them have been lost. Ma diber Hashem, what did God say? This was spoken mockingly, intimating you are not in control of yourself. He was already starting to figure out that this is not really working. Vayisa mishalei, and he said a parable. Vayemer kum balak, arise Balak, ushma and hazinu, and shma and listen closely. Hazinu adai b'nai Tzipor, listen closely to me, son of Tzipor. Arise Balak. Since he saw that Balak was mocking him, he attempted to vex him by saying, stand up on your feet. You have no right to sit when I am being sent to you with a message from God. Son of Tzipor. Okay, we can skip it. It's not. Loi ish kel v'chazev uvnei adam v'yisnechem hachu amar v'lo yasa v'diber v'lo yakimenu. God is not a man that he should say an untruth, nor is he a mortal that he reconsiders. Would he say something and not do it? Would he speak and not fulfill it? He has already, first Rashi, has already sworn to them to bring them to the land of the 7 Canaanite nations and to give it to them to possess it. And you think it's possible to nullify his word and kill them in the desert? Hine barich lakachti uveirach v'loy ashivenu. I have received instructions to bless them. He has blessed them, and I cannot go back on it. Behold, I have taken to bless. You ask me, what did God say? I respond, I received an instruction from him to bless them. Is equivalent to levarich, to bless. Uveirach v'lo yashivenu means he has blessed them and he will not retract his blessing. Loi hibit oven b'Yaakov v'loi ra amo b'Yisrael. Yet I've looked and have not found a person who does idol worship in Yaakov, and not a dishonest person in Yisrael. Hashem elikov imay, God, their God, is with them. Usruas melach boy, and they retain the king's friendship. Hashem elikov imay, God, their God, is with them. Even when they provoke him and disobey him, he does not move from their midst. Hashem is with them. Kel moitziam Mitzrayim, God took them out of Mitzrayim. V'soyafos re'em loy, with strength of his loftiness. You said a people has come out of Egypt, but they did not come out on their own. Rather, Hashem took them out. Ki loy nachash b'Yaakov v'loy kesem b'Yisrael. There's no diviners in Yaakov and no stick diviners in Israel. It will be said to Yaakov and Yisrael, what has God brought or wrought? Because there's no diviners in Yaakov. Oh, sorry, I just noticed you're trying to get into the Zoom. They are worthy of blessing because there are no diviners of auspicious omens or soothsayers among them. People that, just like then it was said to Yaakov, in the future, there will again be a time when God's affection for them will be manifest to all, just like it is at this time of the giving of the Torah. Throughout the Messianic age, they will be seated before him, studying the Torah directly from him, located closer to him than his own ministering angels. And the angels will ask them, What has God wrought about it? This it will say, and your eyes will see your teacher. Another explanation. Yomer Lakiv is not in the future tense, but in the present, continuous. They have no need for diviners or soothsayers, for whenever Yaakov and Israel must be told what the Holy One, blessed be, has wrought, is that how you pronounce it? And what he has decreed on high, they need not consult diviners or soothsayers. Rather, what the Omnipresent has decreed is communicated to them directly by their prophets. Or the Urim Atumim that the Kohen Gadol would wear. That informs them. Onkelos, however, did not translate it like this. But either way, the point of what Bilam is saying is that the Jewish people, they don't need diviners and soothsayers. Haim klovim, klovia, yakum, v'cha'ari yisnasei, la yishkav, ad yechal terem, v'dam chalolim yishta. Behold, a people that rises like a lion, rising itself like a lion. It does not lie down until it consumes prey and drinks the blood of its slain enemies. Behold, a people that arises like a fearsome lion. When they arise from sleep in the morning, they overcome obstacles like a fearsome lion, and like a lion grabbing the opportunity to perform the commandments, to wear tzitzis or talis actually, and to say the Shema, and to put on the tefillin. That's how we wake up like a lion, for a man, I guess. Vayemer Balak el Bilam, and Balak said to Bilam, Gam koiv loisikavenu, gam baruch loisavarachenu. You must neither curse them nor bless them. Vayan Bilam, and Bilam answered, Vayemer el Balak, and he said to Balak, Haloi dibarti elav lemer. Haven't I told you, saying, Kol asher yidaber Hashem oisei esa, everything that God tells me, that's what I must do. So if you're going to ask me to speak, I'm going to speak what Hashem says, and it may be brachos, so watch out. All right, let's go to the Tanya for today. We're continuing in chapter Igeres HaTshuva, chapter number 4. Trying to understand how this tshuva works, how even Karas and Misa B'dei Shemayim work. It doesn't seem to actually be in actuality. What does this mean? How does it work? How are the Jewish people connected to Hashem? And then maybe we can understand a little bit about how you can get Chas v'Shalom Karas, like disconnected from Hashem. The key to this will be found in the pasuk that for God's people are part of Hashem. Ki chelek Hashem amoy. For God's people are part of Hashem. Chelek mishem havaya baruch hu. The Jewish people are part of specifically the Shem Havaya, Yud, Hey, and then a Vav, and then a Hey. That name, which we call Shem Havaya, as is commonly known, we're connected. The Jewish people are part specifically of that part of Hashem, or that way of Hashem. Describing God's infusion of a soul into the body of Adam, it is written, and he blew into the nostrils of the soul of life. And as the Zohar comments, he who blows does so from within him. So too, just the metaphor of blowing signifies that the soul of a Jew originates in the innermost aspect of godliness, in the Yud K Vav K. Of course, Hashem has no bodily form, God forbid. So what does it mean he blew? Right? We use terms like he took the Jewish people out with an outstretched arm or a mighty right arm. Hashem doesn't have arms. Hashem doesn't have blowing to blow the soul in. It's known that the Torah speaks in the language of man. Ve'hev the gadol ba'adam hatachten al derech mashal bein hahevel sheyetz mipiv b'diburei lehahevel hayetz ayidei nefichai. Just like there's a difference in by people when your breath is coming out when you're speaking versus a forceful blowing. Like imagine you have to blow up a balloon. You got to obviously put in a lot more of your kishkis, of your insides, than when you're regular speaking. When we're speaking, a small amount of your soul's power and life force is needed. That's only a superficial aspect of the soul that dwells within. But when the breath that issues when he blows forcefully, that comes from deep within himself. This is an internal power and life force to make life the soul. Just as there exists a vast difference between man speaking and forceful blowing, so too, lahavdil, like not really to make any comparison, but as a way to understand. So too, there is this type of difference above. Ben kol tzva hashamayim va'afilu hamalachim. Between the way Hashem creates all things, all spiritual beings, even angels, v'chayim v'kayamim b'chinas chitzonis achayis v'hashefash mashpia einsev baruch hu lahakyos ha'olamos, they derive their life force from the external, from the chitzonius hachayis. Therefore, it's called breath of his mouth. Al derech mashal k'moshe kasav ruach piv kol tzvam. By the breath of his mouth, all their hosts were created. V'hi b'chinas chayos hamlubeshes ba'oisies sheba'asar mamaris. This is all one thing. Yesh hefresh atzum ma'od l'mayla. There's no bein tzva kol tzva hashamayim, and now it's going to say uvein nishmas ha'adam. So like this whole thing was all one side. There's a big difference between the way the tzva hashamayim, the spiritual beings like angels, the heavenly hosts, the things in the heavens. This shehem chinas kelim umshachas k'moshes baruch uvei nishmas ha'adam, in contrast to how a man's soul shenimshacha tchila b'chinas pnimeus hachayis v'hashefash mashpia einsev baruch hu. This comes from the innermost dimensions of Hashem. K'moshe kasav vayipach, as the verse quoted above, and he blew. As mentioned earlier, this verse indicates the internal aspect of the divine flow of life force, for he who blows does so from his innermost being. Thus, the soul originated in the internal aspect of the life force and flow issuing from God. It is only afterwards, in order to enable it to be invested within a body, that the soul descended to a more external level, as the Alter Rebbe now goes on to say. So, as opposed to the things in the heavens and even the angels, which to begin with are from the mouth, in other words, not from such a deeper inner blowing, the person actually starts from a much more inner part. It comes from the innards, so to speak, from the pnimius. The acharkach, after this blowing, even after the person comes into existence from this inner amount, from this inner place, after that, it then descends through even more concealing places, by means of the letters that comprise the divine utterance of "Let us make man." In order that it should be able to exist in this physical world. Let's look at this. This probably sums it up really well. This then is the difference between souls and angels. Souls derive from the innermost aspect of God, the Yud K Vav K, while angels are rooted in the external aspect of godliness, the divine name Elohim, as is now explained. So, as we said right at the start of today's Tanya, it's just like a person is blowing, and that's the inner parts, and from your mouth when you just speak is a lighter thing. Same too over here. The people originate. Their originate in existence comes from a deeper place. Later on, it gets concealed in order so that it should be able to be capable of being in a body, but its original source is actually higher than that of angels. That's why angels are called with the word Elohim. For God, your God, He is the God of gods. And the last word here refers to angels. Praise the God of gods. Once again, referring to angels. And yet another, the sons of God came to present themselves. And this was applying to angels. So we see many cases where it uses the word Elohim in reference to angels, where the same Havaya is what is used for the creation of man. Again, we're getting to understand if we understand how we're connected to Hashem, then we can understand how we might be able to, chas v'shalom, God forbid, sever that connection or hurt that connection with a sin. So we have to first understand how we're connected. Because they derive their nurture from the external degree of godliness, which is merely a state of letters. And the name Elohim is a external relative to the Shem Havaya. Aval nishmas Adam, but the soul of man, which this comes from the innermost aspect. He chelek Shem Havaya Baruch Hu. This is a part of the Shem Havaya. Because Shem Havaya Mora al pnimis achais, because Shem Havaya indicates the innermost dimensions of life force, which is higher than the state of letters. We're going to continue tomorrow. We're still going to continue in this same understanding of how man is created versus angels, and that difference in what the difference is in that our connection to Hashem. All right, the Tehillim for today, chapters 72 to 76. Let's do the Hayom Yom for the 14th of Tammuz. The Tzemach Tzedek notes in one of his discourses on Tuesday of Parshas Balak 5562, 1802. Our masters of blessed memory said to his sons as follows: to understand the problem posed by the astronomers that since the earth is round and spherical like an apple, why do not those people fall who live on the side of the globe opposite to ours, down below in America? Their answer is not the true one. Our masters of blessed memory said that the answer lies in explanation of the Eitz Chaim, that the 9 spheres are nurtured by the state termed igulim, circles. In a circle, there is no above or below. For this reason, those who live opposite us, down below, have their heavens high above them, arcing in one continuity with the heaven above us, and the earth there is below relative to the heavens over it. Okay. It was a pleasure.
What does that mean?
You know what? I'm not actually 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure what the Tzemach Tzedek was referring by that. Yeah.
Tough stuff.
Yeah, this is it's a Hayom Yom. I'm not sure. Yeah. You
Well,
see
I'm
what?
glad I'm not the only one who didn't get it either.
Yeah,
Me neither. Me
I'll tell you-
neither. Don't feel bad. Me neither. I
yeah.
don't know. I'm reading it over and over. It